We are in the Monster Energy NASCAR League yet again. Today we are going to be visiting Las Vegas for the DC Solar 300. The Xfinity guys' last playoff race, or regular season race before the playoffs, rather. It looks like it's going to be exciting. Practice was 3 wide, a lot too wide, so it looked like some really good racing. I'm joined by Slade up in the booth tonight, so we're hoping we have a really good race to call. Slade, how do you feel about Las Vegas, and what are you expecting to see tonight?
Honestly, I expect to see some crazy racing here today. We got some Cup guys filling in for some Xfinity guys, so it looks like they'll be pretty dicey trying to get some good points here. I think it'll be overall pretty good race. Very exciting for the viewers to watch.
Yeah, you mentioned the subs. We have 4 subs for tonight. We have Beige 2015, who is the Cup Series driver for the number 4 car. He's going to be subbing for Roman tonight. Roman's pretty solidly in the playoffs by about 133 points, so there's not really anything for him to lose there. Then we have Smoke Zmog. He's the driver of the 17 in the Cup Series. He's going to be subbing for Logan McMahon in the 19. So Logan, he's about 104 points out. He would have had a must-win, so that one, unfortunately, he's going to be out of the playoffs. And then you have JC Liv and Kevron. They're going to be subbing for the 7 and the 9 over on Junior Motorsports side. So both of those guys are pretty solidly in the playoffs. The big story, though, that we're going to be watching today is we have the KY Colonel and Sir Smooth are only separated by about 7 points. So KY looked really fast in practice. Whenever I was over there earlier, I hadn't seen Sir Smooth yet, so if he doesn't show up, then obviously KY is going to be pretty set as far as that's concerned. But if he shows up, there will be a good battle. Who do you think? I don't know if you saw any practice, but what do you think is going to be people are going to need to win the race tonight?
I believe that when cars get side by side, the high line is going to be a major factor here at Las Vegas. Like most, when you're single file, you can get a group on the high side, about 3 or 4 cars on the high side, maybe 2, 3 on the inside. The high side will overpower them just because the run off the exit is just amazing in this game. I believe there could be some strategy to come through. You never know with the cautions and all that, but I don't know, man. It's going to be, wait to see the end. It's going to be a great race.
It is. It's going to be really fun. The truck race yesterday, I was on the spotter stand for sports, and it was people were making moves left and right. It was really exciting to watch. Like you said, the high side was eventually where you wanted to be, but there were some guys that could make the inside work. Infan, he had a rocket ship on the inside last night, and it got him some track time, and he actually ended up winning that race. But he had to do it on the outside. But I think if you can get a car that can run on the inside, you can definitely make it work. So we have KY standing by. Let's go ahead and see if we can't get him in here and see what his thoughts are as far as his playoff run and what he thinks about tonight's race.
There he is.
Hey KY, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, a little nervous, but besides that, doing fine.
Yeah, so you're brand new to the Monster Energy NASCAR League, first season ever, and you're on the bubble. So you got a 7-point gap. How do you plan on racing that tonight?
Just racing how I normally do, just being consistent in the stages, getting points. 7 points is quite a bit still, just gotta be myself tonight.
Yeah, so, I don't know if you watched, or you obviously watched the Cup Series race. So I kind of gave you some pointers not to be worried about the other guys like I was. So if you do make it in the playoffs, you'll obviously be one of the last seeded drivers in 8th. So going forward after tonight's race in the playoffs, how do you expect to race and be raced in order to make your way through those rounds?
I expect to be raced how I raced other people, and the way they drive me is the way I'm going to drive them. It just depends on their aggressiveness in the races, and if if they get nervous there, coming to the final races and the rounds coming to the end and they're on the bubble, then that's so be it. I'm still in the playoffs here trying to rack up some playoff points.
There you go. Slade, do you have anything for Mr. KY?
Sorry, I had some background.
That's okay.
KY, who do you think today will be your most threatening opponent of keeping you away from reaching the playoffs?
I think it's going to be Kevron and JC here. It's just they got speed that I don't like seeing.
Yeah. Heard in practice you and JC were battling side by side for a lot there, and it's pretty interesting here. Good luck tonight, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, KY, you looked really fast in practice, so we look forward to watching you race out there, and we're going to follow you pretty closely, watch you get that last playoff spot. So have a good one, man, and good luck in the race.
All right, thank you. I'll have fun up here.
Yeah,
we'll try.
Yep. Okay.
So the race tonight, against the DC Solar 300. I think I have it correct on the screen for you guys, but it's going to be about 100 laps. So, tires. How important are tires at Vegas? Slade.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Screaming in the background. I'm trying to take it out. What were you saying?
How important do you think tires are going to be tonight?
Oh, okay. So for tires here, they're usually, I believe it's one of the tracks where all tires wear, because there are some tracks where the lefts really don't wear a lot. So I believe 4 tires will be very crucial on every pit stop, unless it could be some 3 go, 4 to go in stage 2 tires could 2 tire strategy could work out.
Yeah, no.
But I believe go
for it.
That's pretty much it.
Yesterday in the truck series, there's only one guy that took 4 tires late in the truck race, and he ended up losing the race with Sports Kid. So do you think that has something to do with maybe pitting too early or the gap, or what do you think would determine whether you can take 2 or need to take 4?
Usually the short pitting, how I would usually do short pitting is then get your setups earlier. The 2 tire situation, you might want to pit later into a run. That way, the game's physics of having a looser car when you have 2 tires, pitting later would get you more advantage. But then taking 4 tires early, put your setup in, would get you a lot of room there. But it could go either way. Like you said, the 2 tire thing was a lot better in the truck race. That'll probably be what we'll look for tonight. But the 4 tire, put your setup in very early, will gain you a little bit more time in the short run.
Right. So, looking forward to tomorrow. You made the playoffs. It's your first playoff race with us as well. And you are in Las Vegas. So, what are you looking to maybe learn tonight or take into tomorrow's race?
Main thing I'm probably gonna learn here is the commercial strategy. I believe, because the way I've ran this track, I don't know how many times, about 50 times in this. The strategies will mainly be looking towards, guys trying to save some fuel maybe here and there. 2 tires, 4 tires. The third line also might be key here as well. I might pay attention towards.
Yeah. So how again with your playoffs starting tomorrow, who do you think is your personal biggest competition in the playoffs, or maybe hindering your success, or maybe even the guy that you need to watch for?
I would say S'mores, but with his issues of restarts and just overall top speed kind of affecting him, I'm going to have to go with either JC, because he's been so consistent over the entire season, or Smoke, because he's shown to be pretty fast just overall.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of those. And 2, one guy that I think I'm really going to be watching for in the playoffs is the guy that beat me, is Remix. Last year we kind of saw the same thing. He didn't win a lot, but he was pretty consistent finish-wise. And when he needed to win, he got 1 win out of the way, and he just kind of racked them up. He ended up getting 5. If they weren't in a row, they were pretty close. So, you have some guys that are kind of lower down there that they still have a threat. Is Remix one of those guys that you think you'll have to watch out for in the playoffs?
I believe his momentum is going to carry on to Las Vegas, and I believe he'll be a contender for tomorrow. Um, I don't know, man. I think he'll be pretty good tomorrow. His teammates, football. I think he'll be more contender than football, and him and Beige will be kind of close together, right up front. But yeah, I believe he'll be running top five, maybe six, fifth, six. I'll probably see him hanging out there, is what I believe.
Yeah, it'll
So
it'll definitely be exciting. So, yeah, definitely look forward to watching that. So we're just standing by waiting for those guys over there to finish qualifying. But more so, it's not really as much of a conversation in the Xfinity series. We have a lot of playoff points on the board for the Cup series. Over here in the Xfinity series, not so much. The top three drivers have quite a bit. But after that, it's just, Ryan has 4 and Kai Leuven only has 1. So basically, 4th through 8th, they're going to be pretty close together as far as points are concerned. How important do you feel, getting some playoff points tonight, or starting the playoffs, right off the bat, getting playoff points? How do you feel, and how important those are?
Playoff points are always very important. If you can just get that little edge on your opponent, it'll be a big help in the long run because these do carry over. I'm looking at points now, guys. I see guys like Harris, Quentin, and Money. I see them definitely having a very, not really very, having a greater shot of making it to the Final Four than guys like Ramen or NASCAR Man. They're going to have to make up some work here tonight, and for the weeks to come. KY, with the stage this year, he's going to close in on those guys. He'll have a very good shot to get in the Final Four.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned Harris and Quinton. They have the 2 most playoff points. One of the biggest things all year was, Harris came into the Xfinity series, and he kind of popped off and got on a roll. He got a lot of points really quick, went out and won some races. We heard that because he didn't have NASCAR Heat 3 quite yet, that he won't be, available for the playoffs for the first couple of weeks. And then you look at Quentin, who we haven't seen for a while. So really the 2 favorites, they're not going to be present, it seems, for the first couple of rounds. Do you think, if they were to show up later in the playoffs, that they have a big enough gap? Or do you think, when they show up, they're going to have to basically get on a horse and win some races?
I don't believe that 14 and 11 point gap is enough to, say, hey, I'll run consistent for 2 races and be good. I think they're going to have to be in win-and-in situations to where they're going to have to, like you said, get on their horse and just make the best of it. Because if you got guys, I see guys like, where's he at? Ramen and KY, I've heard they've ran pretty consistent. I see guys like them, if those 2 don't show up, they're going to struggle.
Right. All right, so it looks like we just got some invites, so I'm gonna pay attention to JC's stream here, and we will get going. So we can go ahead and pop in now, and we can watch this race and see what it's all about. All right. Yeah, like I said, practice was really fun. There was a lot of battling going on, and KY, he looked really fast. There were some spots where he got in the wall, or somebody else got in the wall around him, and it kind of hindered him. But all in all, he looked pretty fast. So really looking forward to watching the battle. It doesn't look like Sir Smooth showed up, so as of now, KY is officially in the playoffs. So I don't know if KY necessarily knows that Sir Smooth's not there. I would assume he would. However, what do you think, KY? How do you think he needs to have his mindset for this race? Do you think he needs to just take a deep breath and say, hey, I've made it in the playoffs? Or do you think he needs to say, hey, now that I'm in the playoffs, let's go out and win some races and get some points?
I would look at him as, because you saw he has 0 playoff points, he needs to be in there and battling deeply for positions, trying to win some stages, possibly win the race because they knows in the points. But personally, I would make every move I can to get some stages.
Absolutely.
Strategy.
So now as we're in here, it looks like the 9 started on the pole, and looks like on lap 2 or 3, they are already 3 wide for third place there. So we got battles going on all around. Looks like JC and Smoke are out front right now, side by side. So
you can definitely the 19 car, right?
Go for it. You can definitely see that outside though. how that outside really pulled that 9. So let's
I was on board with the 19 car, man. He was running the low side, and he was getting losing some ground to the 9 and the 7 car right there. He's outside, definitely seems to be the line to run at the moment.
Yeah, let's ride on board with him a little bit and see if he still tries to make that inside work, or if he's gonna, stay out, right on the outside. So it looks like the 7 is gonna try to do the same thing. It's got to be frustrating riding, on the high side, getting some big runs, but having nowhere to go. But it looks like the 7, maybe got a good run off the low side. Let's see if he can clear that 9 car.
We'll clear him right there. 7 to the lead. JC to the lead.
Oh yeah, JC is in the lead. That's right. Kevron's in the 9. So 9's going to try to do a crossover here and see if he can do the same thing that his teammate did. Got the 19 trying to just kind of hanging out. Doesn't look like he wants to make it 3 wide, but it's definitely close.
Have the 5 car right here struggling a lot. He is way off the pace. Just got to lift the wall in turn 5 or turn 4. C Norfie into 5.
Yeah.
Way off pace at the moment.
And C Norfie's a guy that he's about 30 points. I think about 30 points out of 12th. You see him in the wall again. He's having some problems, but he's about 30 points. So if he could maybe get a win and some stage points, he could have a chance. But it's kind of a long shot for him.
I guess bottom line is starting to come in a little bit. You got the 66, 7, and the 98 starting to work that low line. See if they can get that going. High side also trying to make some ground here.
You see the 66. He rode that low line and he really pulled it, but you can just see that outside line just gets such a run. And you see KY right there, the guy that is in that last playoff spot. He's really doing what he said he was going to do, just kind of worry about his own race. Got in the wall a little bit there, but he was talking to me a little bit before the race, and I just told him to run his race. Don't worry about other things. So we'll see if he's able to do that today.
Ooh, little contact. 98 gives 6 a little shot. So he didn't appear to think that 98 was clear. I all sorted out there.
So right now it looks like everyone's for the most part on the straightaway backstretch, at least they're about single file, but you see a lot of guys trying to go to the bottom and make it work, and then the outside just kind of like we've been saying so far already, they get that run and it just allows them to get clear of everything. Why do you think people are trying to make that inside work? Is it not wanting to ride, or is it just?
I believe it's just aggression. They're trying to make spots as much as they can. They're saying the outside's the prominent lane at the moment. You see, actually, a lot of guys starting to work the inside now. But they're trying to make some moves, maybe as they can at the moment, to set themselves great when the stops come.
Yeah, and you can, kind of like you said, you can kind of see the 7, at least in 3 and 4. They kind of start high, and then he'll go down towards the apex, low on the apex, and he'll exit high. Is that for momentum on that long sweeping front stretch, or is that to take away runs from the inside?
What they do, I was waiting on the 5. The 5's in the wall again, but they start the high side and go low, just try to keep the most momentum they can, keep as much speed as possible. Because if you start the high, ride high, lose a lot of speed, good exit, and start low, finish low. It's kind of hard to aim it there. So the starting high, low, and then go back to high is a very good technique to gain some speed, gain some positions here at Las Vegas.
I definitely definitely get some momentum, kind of like you were saying. I was watching the 66. It looks like he was kind of running that Kyle Larson line in 3 and 4 and kind of got in the wall a little. So we'll see if that affects him. He just now was able to get to the low side and maybe kind of regroup You know, when something like that happens and you know the outside's the preferred line and it's going to be fast, how, you know, if you get in the wall, how do you kind of put it in your brain that you kind of have to just let that go and you got to get back up there if you want to catch back up?
With these setups, how the cars are in default for the Xfinity, it's very tight. So if you get in the wall, you just look at it as another just kind of a mountain. You just got to go around it, work your way back up there. It's very hard to pass here, just because there's two different lines you can use and all that. But we're starting to single out here.
Yeah, it looks like the 98 and the 9 are battling pretty good for second. So
28 has caught the draft. I thought I mentioned the 28 lost the draft, but 28 has regained the 23. But they need to work with each other, try and get back to the 60 car right here.
Yeah, we're gonna watch this. We'll go on board with the 98 here. He's definitely looking to try to take that second spot away. He's searching for a faster line, so we'll see if he can get it done. He followed the 9 in low, and then now he's gonna get that run on the outside. So 6 is in the wall. You know, you mentioned the 28. Infan kind of came out of nowhere and won the truck race yesterday. Do you think that's gonna give him some momentum for today?
Definitely. Winning any race in the league gives you a good sense of feeling that you can go out and win another one. So if he keep that same mentality that he had last night, I believe he can pull it off again here tonight.
The 98 kind of looks like he's got some speed. There's 9 laps to go on this stage. Do you think that's enough time to run down the 7 up there, or do you think the battle's really going to be for second?
The 9 and the 98 keep battling like they are. I believe the 7's got it.
Oh, 98 got
the wall there.
So did the
9 on the back of them. What will that move? I believe the 7's got it because they've now lost his draft, it appears. So you see the numerals, how far he's behind. That appears to be about 6-7 tenths, which is the draft area. But I believe they're battling now, so I believe 7's got stage.
Yeah, and now we have, back here we have the 42, the 19, the 6-6, the 23. They're all battling for that 4th position now, and that's, as the 42, you kind of have to be kind of worried. You don't want to get caught up in a wreck or something real early, especially with, you have the 60 and then the 28 coming. How do you think he's, approaching things now?
He's looking at it. He's kind of sitting in a spot. He's sitting in a spot where he's not in position for a stage win. Honestly, if I were him, I'd try and make some moves that would set him up well for the stage. I'd probably try and set myself to get either in one of the inside spots so we can get a great restart. So I'd probably, if I was KY, I'd either make some moves to get 5th or 7th on the restart. Right? Let's not go to 3rd.
And back here for this battle for 4th and 5th, there's a lot of moving around. So they're single file, but you can see how fanned they are across the track. That that really shows that everyone's trying to find their own line and get comfortable. And it shows that later on when moves are going to have to be made, there's a lot of room on the track and people are going to use it, which is really exciting. But look at this 19. He has caught the 98 and the 9, and he's going to be in that battle for 3rd place. And look at that.
I think he's going to try and push the 98 past the 9 and just try and make him in the 98 battle each other, try and get the 9 of this situation. We're close there. Ooh, can we go 3 wide here? No, that's nothing.
So it looks like he's even, he kind of wants to work with the 98 on that low side, but, everybody knows that high line's where it needs to be, but he's going to try to push the middle 3 wide.
Can JC clear him? Kevron clears him.
When they allowed, racing 3 wide, they allowed all those other guys to catch back up, so now you have really the only person that's safe right now is JC way out in front, and they're 3 wide back there for 5th place. So look at that.
KY in the middle.
Yeah, KY is back there in the middle, and he's got to be kind of thinking, guys, let me run my race. But looks like the 60 and the 28 maybe lost the draft, maybe pitted. I only see the 60 back there.
60's lost the draft. The 5 is in turn 2. He's definitely off the pace. The 28 appears to have lagged out.
28 lagged out.
28.
Man, rough going for the 28. He won yesterday. you know, he had motor problems at the end of the race yesterday. They're still battling 2 and 3 wide for the second position. This is just great. But Infan, you know, he blew a motor right after the race yesterday, so motor problems are seem to be big in that camp. But man, what a day. He had to have been excited to run this race after winning yesterday.
We'll keep him a little
Contact
bit,
between the 9 and the 98. Looks like the 98's going to be in the wall.
As I'm trying to keep here with the 28 to see, because there was a little movement on my screen. It appears he is done for the day. Done for the day, the 28 car. Personally, I thought he either spit on pit road trying to some strategy, but
yeah, I was kind of wondering because he was there, and then I just kind of lost him, so I wasn't sure. And this battle for second is nobody's safe. Nobody is safe, that's for sure.
19's trying to get in here and make a battle.
Yeah, the 23. Look at that. He was, you know, he started kind of well, but he's been behind this group for a while, and he said, you know, on the last lap, he's up there. The last lap of the stage, he's up there battling for second. So he seems pretty confident.
He was sitting 6th place a couple seconds ago, sitting 6th place. But when the 98 made contact, he's kind of been doing what he's been doing. He goes to the low side here. He's been running the high side mainly.
Yeah, tough going for the 98 too. He was really up there battling, and then just couldn't. Contact just hurt it just a little bit.
Stage is over.
The stage is over. JC Liv got the win for stage 1, so let's see if we can't get something for him. We'll go over in Discord and see what we got. If I can find it here. All right. I can't. Having some technical difficulties here. I can't figure this out. JC, how about that? You won that first stage out there. You know, we were watching it. You were really the only safe one out there. It was, you know, I don't know if you could tell in your mirror, but it was 2 and 3 wide back there for second. How was that for you?
Oh, that worked out beautiful for me. I was watching guys side by side racing. Just allowed me to pull away.
How do you think you'll do here in the second stage and for the rest of the race?
I mean, I've got the car to get it done, so hopefully we get the second stage as well. Car on the outside now, outside.
All right, JC. Well, Fish Slade, do you have anything for JC?
I just want to ask you a question. When you were getting all by yourself, the 19 and the 9, which I just looked, the 9 was at pit road. Looks fierce. He had engine trouble as we had a wreck in the back. But who do you think your biggest threats are now that the 9 has appeared to blow a motor as well as the 28?
Without the list, I would say probably either Smoke or the Colonel.
42 was a track there. Still pretty fast though. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Have a good race.
I appreciate it.
Yep. See you, JC. Yeah, I didn't quite catch what happened on that wreck there. What happened back there in the back?
On the way I saw it, who was beside him? Sorry, I'll get back with the car.
Oh,
it appeared
okay.
that the 60 or the 66, either way, made contact with the 23, and the 5 was just innocent bystander, nowhere to go for him.
Yeah, so it looks like we're down to. Oop. Try to go on board here with KY. Looks like we're down to about 8 guys in this race, so it's definitely going to be, you know, everyone's going to get stage points at this point, so it's really going to be about who can outdrive the next. But man, huge competition with the 9 blowing the motor. That really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So we got
He's
KY on.
Fairest to win.
Yeah, we got KY on the outside. You know, it's the preferred line while racing, but on the restarts, it kind of seems like you don't want to be in that outside. Why do you think that is?
Just how the overall package of this track, and pretty much almost all 1.5 miles of restart on this high side. It just, the way it works here, if you can just get the quick start on the track on the low side, it just gives you that extra bit of gap between your opponent. That's why I was kind of mentioning to KY, you know, trying to get that inside, which he did.
Right.
So he did a restart here.
And then we had that accident. I think that got him back up there into the high side. But you can kind of tell, you know, that inside, it seems like when you have a couple cars in the draft, you can really get that inside to work. Is that something you think we might see come into play later on in the race?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, you can get a draft. I think the insides, if you're better side by side with somebody, outside's a lot better. But if you can, either way, if you overpower someone like PF4 on the inside, 2 or 3 on the outside, you can definitely overpower somebody and get the line going. Up here at the low line, right now is being preferred. I see the 42 trying to run some high side to get there.
Yeah, and it's weird how that all changed. You know, before the stage, everyone wanted the high side. And now, like you've mentioned, it keeps kind of going low. But you see this 19, he keeps going to the low side, but he finds himself high ever since.
19 got the wall, 98 got in the back of him, 42 got the 98. They do pull it down though. Once again, the 23 makes the best out of some mistakes. He's now battling for third.
Yeah, 23 seems like, you know, kind of like you said, making the best out of a bad situation. You know, how do you think that makes him race differently in the car, that he's kind of missing all the wrecks and stuff?
You just got to put yourself in better situations, and he has seemed to do it already. I wouldn't, personally, if he was the way I would see him driving, he's not trying to put it 3 wide or anything like that. He's looking to try to just back it off, wait for someone to make some contact and just trying to get into those spots. Spots already today.
The 19, he is trying to get on the outside of the 7. You know, for 2 laps in a row, he's been working the high side. So, I'll watch this, as he's definitely going to try to make the move into turn 1. We'll see if that outside is able to pull him around.
Yep, he's got it. He's going to clear him. Oh, man, he got the wall there.
He got the wall, yeah. He had the momentum, but I don't think he's definitely, he might clear him on the front stretch, but we've seen JC go on the apron on the front stretch a couple times. And
98 and 23, little contact, battling for third behind them.
Yeah, and
they sorted out.
This battle for first has allowed them to catch up, so now it'll be, you know, we saw the 23 make some moves to get in front of that pack at the end of stage 1. We'll see if he can do that here and maybe take the lead and lead them to the end of stage 2.
Single file on back behind the 2 leaders. They seem to try and gain some ground on these 2 out of there side by side. Bottom line, that's what most of them back there are running. The 2 up and down, so that's about it.
Now the 19 he got around. Oh, it looks like there's trouble back there between the 5. The 5 and the 60. Not sure what happened there.
It appeared that 60 got the outside wall from my angle. 60 got the outside wall, came down, got the 5. Excuse me. 66, kind of an innocent bystander there. He was able to get through it, but he got some troubles getting through it. But we got a caution here for the 3rd time of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be the 3rd caution. So we had the stage and then the 2 cautions since. So, you know, now that you have some laps on the tires, you know, you're probably going to be pretty close on fuel. What do you think now as far as strategy? Do you go and, you know, maybe get 2 tires so you can have some better grip at the end, and, you know, hopefully that helps you? Or, you know, do you think anyone's going to make any strategy calls here?
I think most people here probably go, I mean, if you're different camera, I'll probably say if you're the 23 on back, 23 KY, and you're on back, they'd probably go 4 tires and no fuel, so they can get a lot of fuel, a lot of cars, more speed. These guys up front, I bet that the 7 appear to take 2 tires.
Yeah, it does appear that way. We haven't talked about the 66 a lot today, so he's had some good restarts and he's kind of had speed, but it seems like he can't get through traffic. Let's follow him. See how he handles this restart, starting on the outside.
Here's he's just going to try and sit back and just let everything unfold, see what he can make some moves here.
Yeah, you know, sometimes being in the back, the 5 got the apron just a little bit. Looks like he's going to
60.
save it, though, so what a save by him.
60 did a great job not recommending to make some contact with him. 66 also dodged it.
Yeah, both of them did a good job not to run into him, cause, something bigger than that, and a great job by the 5. As you can see, the 66 is searching. He saw that the low side has been helpful, so we'll see what he does. Sometimes it's good to start in the back and see what lines, moving and kind of go there, but
It works 3 wide for third back there, but looks 23 made some contact with 19. The 42 is going to let out of it.
yeah.
23 clear connected.
Smart move there by the 42 not to push the issue really early in the race. Like we mentioned earlier, Sir Smooth didn't make the race, so he is in the playoffs. He's made the playoffs and everything, so now he's just kind of out there trying to get some momentum into the playoffs and see if he can ride that way.
Seven's going to clear the 98 here, using the high side. Oh,
Yeah, it
seven
looks like he
seven
got
gets
in the wall. We're going to go
And
on
once
board.
again, the 23 is going to capitalize on mistakes by the drivers. He's going to try and take the lead here.
Yeah, Bradley, he does that really well. He's a Cup Series regular, and he's done that really well. You see the 98 in the wall. But look at this, 3 wide for second, and KY on the inside, just a little bit contact made. And the 19 is going to thread the needle. And he's going to make
With
it
a
work.
19. Trying to go from 5th to 1st here in a good 2 turns. 7's
Yeah.
going to put it 3 wide.
3 wide again
There's
for...
still 3 wide back there.
And 23, he's
6.
hanging on strong outside, by himself. The 19 has the draft, so that helps, but 23 is using that momentum for the outside to kind of keep it. But Bradley's really good about, he's good at making drivers pay for their mistakes, and he's been good about it in the Cup Series all year. And he's definitely doing it here today in the Xfinity Series.
So the 42 there, trying to follow the 19, give some momentum to him, try to get to second, try to maybe win the stage. 23 appears he could clear him here.
And that is
23 clears
huge.
42.
The 42 and in the 66 looks like there was a caution somewhere. Maybe that was stage 2. Let's see.
But it was stage 2.
that was stage
I did
2.
see the... I believe it was the 98 was in the grass there. I just ended the stage.
So the 19 won stage 2. Let's go on, see what the 19 has to say about his win in stage 2.
Sorry, I have some technical difficulties trying to open Discord.
Smoke, how did you do it, man? There was a lot of battling out there for the stage win. How were you able to thread the needle and get around them for that stage win?
I was driving way too aggressive. I shouldn't have made that move, but I just got such a good run coming off the middle part. So I just went for it, got by Bradley going into turn 1, and just took it from there.
It seems like the racing out there is not over aggressive, but just right. How do you think?
I saw you go from 5th to 1st with that move. Will you keep that aggression up as we're in stage 3 here, or will you kind of simmer down knowing that was a pretty aggressive move that got you a good stage win?
Probably settled down a little bit, so it'll just depend on where we go from here.
Pretty behind here. I'm with you. Keep it going. Good luck, man.
Yeah, good luck in the rest of the race, Smoke.
Thank you.
All right, back with booth. We had the little contact. We had the 5, the appeared to be the 60, and the 7 had a little contact there.
Yeah, and
hurt them a little bit there.
you heard him say he thinks he was just a little bit too aggressive. Is that something that, when you're coming to the stage win, are you thinking about that? Or are you just kind of tunnel vision for the checker?
Personally, his situation, cars were getting the wall behind each other. It was a very aggressive move, and it did pay out, but I wouldn't even, personally, I wouldn't even thought about is too aggressive or not. You see something like that, you go for it, and it worked out, got him a stage win.
And the guy we've been talking about all day, just kind of making people making people pay for their mistakes. He's up here in 2nd place now, battling for the lead. So, if Bradley can get around the 19, what do you think will be his focus as far as keeping the lead?
I'd probably say just I'd probably keep the high side, to be honest with you. Maybe do the enter high, go low line, kind of arc it. But if he wants to get on the 19th, time to make something work, it appears 42 is just locked on and going to 19, trying to make his way to second, as the 23 is side by side with the 42.
And you know, the 42, he definitely used that outside battle, or that outside line rather, to pull himself to that battle. You have that 98 got a little bit tight there, but you have the 42 and the 66. Neither of them really have a whole bunch of playoff points. So going forward, do you have to be focused on maybe trying to get a win to get those playoff points, or are you just trying to solidify yourself and get some good points and momentum for the first round of the playoffs next week?
I won't be driving out of my head just trying to get this win, but you do look at Thekycolonel. I know how he drives. He will be driving pretty aggressive to try and get this win, try and solidify himself, getting some more playoff points. I believe he can do it.
It'll be definitely interesting to watch. He's been so close so many times this year, and he just, has either had problems in pit road or, kind of just got, in the Xfinity series, it's really hard to win as an Xfinity driver. You constantly have Cup guys going down there, whether it's a sub or a part-time rider or what have you. But he has seemed to hold his own really well against some of these Cup guys. I think that really shows a lot, as, for a driver that hadn't been in this league, but, in less than a year.
Forgot to mention, about 3 to 4 laps ago, the 98 and the 7 made contact, and the 7 has lost the main pack. Big contender, JC, has lost the main pack.
Yeah, JC, and so you can't really make it, you obviously can't make it a full fuel run. So with the 7 losing the draft, what does that do as far as, maybe does he try to make some kind of strategy to get back into that pack, or does he just kind of run his race and hope, something, caution comes out, or there's some mistakes up front that
he's honest. I don't know if he is, but it appears to me that he's kind of staying even, which for him, I'd probably keep doing what he's doing, but he's going to have to hope for a caution, maybe trying to pull some strategy. And these guys he's catching them though.
Yeah,
these guys are battling side by side.
It does appear that he's catching them, and a big help for that is going to be all these guys up here. First through fourth, they're battling really hard, and that's going to allow that 7 to catch up, get that draft easy, a little bit easier. But once he gets that draft, he'll be right back in the middle of it, and at that time, these guys up front in the top 5, they've kind of got to be worried about him just kind of passing them left and right.
And once again, you see the 23 here. He's sitting 5th. He's just sitting back here, just watching and see if anyone makes a mistake, it appears.
Yeah, he just kind of sits there and picks them off one by one, it seems. You saw him over here in second, and he got a little bit loose, but he didn't make contact with the wall or anything. He just kind of fell back, and he's minding his P's and Q's. And you see him here now catching the draft of the 98, and he's going to look to the inside of the 66. We'll see if he can pull that off in a couple of laps.
I personally like how Bradley's driving right here, because it's obviously worked in both stages. He's trying to pick guys one by one and work his way to the front. I believe he has a car that can battle with the 19. Just got to find a way around him. You see, looking nice at him.
The 7 pretty much went out there and dominated the first stage. The 19, he kind of got there at the end of the second stage. Your favorite has to be the 7, just because how fast he's been. But many a times this year, the fastest car hasn't won the race. Who are you looking at right now, maybe to get that victory out here today?
Personally, I either see if JC can get back in this race, he's still honestly not my favorite. I can see the 42 making some aggressive moves, 42 or the 98 making some aggressive moves, trying to get themselves a win here. I believe them two will be there at the end.
Yeah, Bish has, he's in that 98. He hasn't been in the Xfinity series in quite some time. He's been on vacation, so he's missed some Cup races too. Being back in that car and driving that well after being gone for so long, that's got to be a big momentum into the Cup playoffs as well. But he looks pretty strong out there. I agree. He could definitely go out there and steal this win.
So what JC needs right here, he's trying to just go the quickest way around the track, start high and just arc it low. Trying to hold that low side as they are battling pretty heavy right here.
Yeah, 4 of them blanketed for second, and you can kind of see Bradley. He's he's there. He keeps getting the runs. He just backs off. He doesn't want to push the issue. It also seems, you keep seeing him dip down to try to make the low side line move a little bit, but you see him stick there with KY. KY Colonel's his driver in the Xfinity series, so he's probably trying to not leave him out to dry too much because he knows what the bigger picture is for him as well.
JC, he's about a good maybe 2/10 away. He was from the 66 car, but the 66 has gained it back. JC's going to have some strategy or a caution. It appears to regain that main pack.
Yeah, you see the 66, he fell back a little bit. I don't know if that, I never saw contact made. He may have just had a bad corner or something like that. But you see the 42, you mentioned him getting a little aggressive. He pushed the 98 all the way through that corner. Is that a hey, I'm here kind of thing, or is he just kind of riding and trying to ride that momentum all the way as much as he can?
I believe he's trying as hard as he can just to gain any ground, set himself in a position to win this race. Like I said earlier, he's being very aggressive, just barely cleared the 23, and he's going to try to make a move on the 98 on the low side.
Yeah, that 19. It seems like, early we saw the big battles for second and third at the end of the stage. The 7 was really able to capitalize on that and gain a lot of ground on it. It seems like the 19 isn't able to do quite that. You see the 98 here in the wall, and the 23 and the 42 get by him pretty well. But does that say something about maybe the car that the 7 has versus the 9? Or I'm sorry, the 19.
I believe the 7 has a faster car, no doubt. The 19's with him. You can hang with him, I personally believe. But the 7 is a bit faster. So he did catch 66, and now the 66, 7, and 98 are in a pack, but they are once again off of the top 3 cars.
Yeah, and it's going to be really exciting. We see a lot of times, at plate tracks, 3 cars is obviously better than 3. Sorry, 3 cars is obviously better than 2. It's going to be interesting to see if they can kind of work together to catch these 2 cars, or if they're just going to race it out. It looks like, JC wants to get back to the front. He's not looking to ride around.
Yeah, I personally believe the 7s are trying to get around the 66, and as well as the 98 trying to around 66. So I believe those 2, they probably believe they're faster than the 66, and they're planning on M3 hooking up, but they want to be in the correct order to where the 66 is third in line, just because he's slower than the 2 he's driving with.
There's about 36 laps left in this race. They're definitely going to have to make a green flag pit stop. So it's definitely going to be exciting. This is the first Xfinity race we've had, or I'm sorry, the second Xfinity race we've had on this game. Pit road is going to be key. There's been some drivers that maybe haven't had a ton of practice getting on pit road. Do you think that's going to play into, maybe how far the gap is once pit cycles are finished?
Depends how, sorry, I just lost the train of thought, but how the game works is pretty much similar to how Heat 2 works. Getting up pit road should be somewhat similar, so these guys, about 7 and 19, 23, who were pretty good getting on pit road in Heat 2, they should have no problems getting here in the pit road on Heat 3, but I 6 guys like him in the 98 wanted to make some time up by getting on pit road. And so,
yeah, now you can kind of see now that pack has kind of dispersed behind the 19. He's starting to gain a little bit of ground, but you see Bradley, he is glued to the bumper of the 42, really trying to catch that 19. That's a pretty smart call. We've seen Bradley all race just kind of ride it out and really kind of play however is best for his chances, and it looks like that's what he's trying to do, really to get himself and KY up there to the front. It'll definitely be interesting to see how this all cycles out with who takes 4 tires, 2 tires, and all that kind of jazz.
I don't know if the 23 believes he's faster than 42, or he's trying to help a teammate out, but I don't see Bradley trying to pass the 42 here anytime soon. As we'll contact the 23.
And it looks like
they're trying to work together.
It looks like he's pushing him quite a ways around the track. See, Bradley dipped all the way down to the white line. I don't know if he was trying to make a move and just lost the momentum or what.
Well, I stand corrected. 23. That makes a move in 42. I personally think it's 42. The 42 was let off and let 23 go, and he would push in, or the 23 just went past. I believe they would be able to catch the 19 without actually any pit strategy. So
Yeah.
23.
And that may have been what happened. The 23 cleared him pretty well, but it looks like, KY, he's not wanting to run. He's trying to get every spot he can before, he wants the momentum going into the playoffs. These two guys in front of him, they're not running for the Xfinity playoffs. They're just, they're both going out there for a win, but I think KY is definitely looking at the bigger picture here. Really wanting that momentum. It looks like the 66 is going to dive down onto pit road.
60 was already on pit road. He pitted a
60
lap
was on
ago.
pit road. Yep, so we'll watch the 66. We'll see where he comes out. Looks like he got at least a good four tires, and the 5 is going to pass him. So keep an eye on the 60 and see. He lost a lap. We'll see where he's going to cycle out. It looks like the 42's dipping down onto pit road. He had a pretty good entry there, so as long as he wasn't speeding, that's going to be a really good entry. Hopefully his crew can get him in and out pretty quick. See if we can't have a good cycle out.
Good 15.5-second pit stop by 66. That's going to keep him in somewhat contention. We'll see what 2 gets here.
And the 60 is coming across the line now, so we'll see. If I don't think he'll quite get to the 66 and make that a battle, but it's definitely going to be spread out just a little bit. The 66 is going to cycle right behind C. Norfrey, so about a straightaway away from the 60. Looks like the 98 and the 7 are still out. I do not see.
We have a speeding penalty on pit road.
Oh, the 42 got a speeding.
Car.
The 42 KY got a speeding penalty, and that's not what he needed. You see his teammate right there, teammate and owner Bradley. He's starting his pit stop now. I wonder if he had the same problems.
So 42 is going to need a caution to get back in this race, of course.
The 42, yeah, definitely will. And let's see. Yeah, and Ryan Higgins is already in the playoffs, so he doesn't have anything to worry about there. He's not going to lose any playoff spot. That momentum's big. If you're the 19 though, and one of the fastest cars of the race, with the exception of the 7, just had a speeding penalty. That's got to be big for you. It looks like the 7's ducking down onto pit road right now as well.
98 as compared to when he was with JC, but Smoke, his only competition right now appears to be the 23. If 23 can, he's short pitted a little bit. If he can make it work, appears the 23 is going to gain some time on this 19 here.
Now, do you think the 7's maybe going to look for some strategy? Is there I don't really know. Is there enough laps to maybe make a strategy, or do you think he's just going to get 4 tires and try to just run them down?
I believe that he's in a position where he'd probably take 4 tires and just hope a caution comes out. He did take 4 tires. Fuel's unknown, but it appears that he's taking 4 tires. Going to try and hope for a caution.
Yeah,
just drive his race.
The 19 and the 98 both ducked onto pit road, so we will see where they cycle out. We're going to ride with Bradley. He's got the 66 right behind him. The 66 gained quite a bit of time on pit road there. It seems he may have had a better entry onto pit road, but Bradley is he's been there all day and just kind of minded his own business and missed all the wrecks. So we'll see if that'll play out for him as well.
19 and 98 both take 4 tires here.
We're going to see where they cycle out, and it looks like they're going to lose the lead. Maybe they're going to cycle out right behind. Looks like the 19 is going to cycle out right behind the 23 right in front of them.
This is what short pitting does. 23 and the 66. Wow, 66 getting a lot of time.
Yeah, the 66.
But those two short pitting.
Yeah, he was 6th right before the pit cycle. So, I'm wondering. The 66 took 4 tires, but like you said, he short pitted and got all that speed, right out of the pits, and that's what's going to help him. But, will he be able to hold on to it for the rest of the race? Looks like he got the wall just a little bit there.
Yeah, Smoke does have the fresher tire, so yeah, he's going to go on 66 here. I don't know how many laps. I believe he pitted 4 laps. I want to say 4 to 5 laps after Bradley. That's about 10% difference in tires, 10-15% difference in tires. So we'll see in about. I don't know if I have to pit again. I'm not 100% sure. I do not have the.
I do not believe they have to pit again, but one big question is we haven't seen Bradley in clean air today, so we don't know how good he is in clean air. He might be able to go out there and drive like that 7 or even the 19 and, hold that gap, at the max and keep him back there.
Yeah. See the 6, not 6. The 5 just made his pit stop and pitted very late, maybe hoping that caution comes out where he can get some fresh tires in the field. 23 looks like he's kind of starting to pull away from the 19 a little bit here.
And the 66, he's kind of holding in there too, but he's running that low line. It looks like he's catching the draft, maybe getting the arc off the corners and catching the draft of the 19, and that's what's keeping him there. But like you said, it looks like the 23 definitely isn't losing any ground. But if he's gaining any, if it's going to be enough over the long run, we'll have to see. But very characteristic of Bradley to miss all the wrecks and all the contact and stuff and end up out front. He's really good about that.
NBC makes no mistakes here. 19 looks to be gaining on him in a little bit. He's not reached the peak of the draft. He got 4 to 5, 10 seconds back, and he's 19 starting to pull him down. That 66 looks to have lost the draft of the 19.
Yeah, it looks like now 19 made a huge run on the 23 there, and he about cut that lead about a quarter off and got about 20 to go. So we'll see how much those 4 laps really mean for on those tires.
There's not really much battling going on around. 19's now caught the 23 of Bradley, and we have the 98 and the 7. They're starting to battle a little bit for the 4th spot as everyone else is.
Yeah, it looks like the 7 just got around the 98. But really, the question's going to be is how quick that 19 can get around that 23. 23's best option is to just race him as hard as you can and use those tires up and hopefully get some even playing ground, so the 19 doesn't just kind of walk away with it from here on out.
19's going to make a move here to the inside of the 23. I believe 23's high side run here is going to at least get him here through smoke gun straightaway.
I think Bradley's really smart to hold that, keep the 19, running that low line. He said, hey, if you're going to pass me, it's going to have to be on the low side. And the 19 knows that. You can kind of see him running that middle line, trying to, kind of get the momentum from the high side, but still have a lane below the 23 to pass. But Bradley's doing a really good job of making that 19 work on the bottom to try to get around him because he knows the momentum from the outside is really big here.
There we go. They are side by side. 19. I move the 19 right here. He's going to clear him into 1 and 2. Or exiting 2 just because maybe he's going to throw it in there. Probably going to let off early, trying to get a good run. And the 19 clears the 23.
19 slid up in front of him, and for a minute it looked like Bradley was going to try to do the crossover, but I think he just realized he didn't have enough speed. So the 23 is now going to again play the smart move and just use the draft and see if he can't just get to his bumper and maybe try to get to the outside of him and do that all over again.
98 and 7 back here, down third, bumper to bumper. Both of them just cleared the 66.
Oh, it looks
the
like the 5
was
trouble.
Spinning.
Huge trouble for the 5. He was, he was having some trouble in practice, really working on his setup. He had a couple setups that he was working with, and he never really seemed like he was real comfortable with any of them. So
that's good news for the 1923. They can keep battling. Lose them too. Sorry, my screen slowed down. That was caution.
Looks like that gap back to the 7 is about 2 seconds. So really a lot of ground to make up if you're going to battle. I think the best bet is if these 3 cars were to just kind of hang out and draft up there, they might be able to catch them and have a 5-car battle for the lead.
Much around the pack. The 5 and the 60 made some contact way back in the pack, about the middle of the backstretch. They had some contact, they're not side by side. Everything got cleared up.
And neither one of these guys are out here. Neither one of these guys are going to make the playoffs, so they're just trying to ride their season out and end it on a good note. Still going out here trying to get wins. Jurios he's fairly new to the league. He joined really late, but man, he has shown a lot of progression since he's gotten here. And C. Norfrey, he's been with us for a while. He just kind of had a leave of absence for a while, and it seems like he just can't get back the momentum that he had before he left. And it's just really tough for him because he had a drive in the Cup Series and he was able to make it work. But it looks like the 60 and the 5, they're battling and they're beating and begging. So they're not racing for the lead, but they're definitely not racing they're not here to just hang out and ride around either.
23, still going to work on the 19. If I were him, I'd try to stay behind, save some tires, try and make a move with a few to go.
Looks like Bradley's going to look to the inside. He might be thinking, he may have watched his mirror for the whole time him and the 19 were battling. He may have watched his mirror and maybe took some notes on how to make the pass. So we'll see if Bradley, he's not losing any time to the 19, which is key. That's the most important thing if he wants to try to make a pass for this win. But he's also kind of mirroring exactly what the 19 was doing. He didn't want to run. He doesn't want to run way up high. He wants to get the momentum, but he doesn't want to run right behind him. So he's still looking for that inside lane a little bit behind him. With just 10 laps to go, it looks like the 5 had some trouble. I'm not sure what's going on there, but he was ghosted, so he was able to kind of stay out of the way.
This is the 19. 23 seems being comfortable sitting on the 19 for the moment.
I'm not too sure what's going on with the 5. Looks like he was just waiting to get turned around. Like I said, with just 10 to go, we'll see what the 23 is able to do. It looks like he's got a little gap now from the 19. So I think draft is going to be huge.
See what the 5 does here, and he gets the apron. Lears could have some trouble here getting around the 5. And,
yeah, looks like he's going to stay out of the way. Man, huge problems for the 5 today. And that's just rough.
He's parking it for the moment.
The 23 has really lost a lot of ground to that 19. Looks like he got into the wall just a little bit on the exit of 4. So that's really going to hurt his chances here. He might need even a caution to get back up there and battle with the 19. Doesn't look like he has the draft enough to really go out there and pass
5 has blown a motor.
5 has blown a motor. Yeah, he was having some problems there late in the race, so definitely kind of curious on what those problems were, but he rode it out as long as he could, but he really looked like he was struggling. So
7 there got the extra a little bit into the 98. As we're watching here, it seems like the 19 has gotten away from the 23, and the 23 is now 9/10 to a second behind the 19, which is out of the draft.
Yeah, and you see the 7 and 98, they've had a battle brewing here for a while. They've been going back and forth. The 98 seems like he's pretty fast there on the outside, but JC's not going to let him go that easy.
19 in the wall a little bit. 23 could gain some ground off of that. It's just to go. Actually, it's going to be enough.
I think that gap's just too big to make up in that short of time. But you never know. That's the great thing about the Xfinity series is you never know what could happen. But it sure does look like those tires were really important. Those 4 laps made a huge difference with 5 to go. Now it's going to see where you see that transition. Now is about the time when the 19 pitted and 23 was already on the track. So we'll see how big he's able to make that gap with those four lap pressure tires. We haven't spoken much of KY in a while. He's just kind of riding around that back and, you know, racing, trying to get to the 60, maybe get, you know, one position out of it. You know, that 1 point could be really important. You know, all the points do reset after today, so that one position to him could mean something, you know, just a little bit of momentum. Just a ray of sunshine after a speeding penalty here whenever you really didn't need it.
Yeah, because 7 he still has the 98 draft, but if it appears once we have a caution come out or something happens to 98, the 98's getting third today. Also the 42, who has now caught the 60s draft. I mean, the 42 trying to salvage. He's not going to get top 5 here unless he can pass 66, but he's going to try and just gain as many points as possible. And the 23 has just fallen off. 19. So anything could happen though. Anything could happen.
Yeah, it looks like that 19. He's riding up there really close to the wall. You know, I don't know how you would drive, but I think if I was out there to a lead, I would kind of stay a little bit away from that wall just so I didn't make a mistake and get up into the wall. Do you think he's thinking about that, or is he just trying to, you know, stay tunnel vision and drive like he has all race long?
I believe he's just trying to keep that gap as far as possible. Just trying
Looks
to
like he
keep
got
the
in the wall
message.
just a little bit there.
Yeah, it's very risky driving that high line near that wall whatever
Yeah.
lap it is.
So it's final lap. So 19 is going to be coming off of turn 4, and he has pretty much had the race in his control since stage 2. 23 was there, he just wasn't able to get it done. So 19 is going to come out here and walk away with a DC Solar 300. Man, tough break for the 7. He was obviously the fastest car out there today, but just couldn't get it done. You know, but you know, big props to the 23. We mentioned him all day long. He missed the trouble when guys had problems around him. He got around. He got around the trouble. He ended up finishing up front. So, you know, big props to him.
We also had with last lap the 42 was able to get around the 60, so Thekycolonel able to salvage some extra points at the end of the day after speed penalty.
That's got to be huge for KY. So we'll let KY kind of get settled in here, or settled out of his car, you know, kind of get relaxed and everything. But we'll see what he has to say, especially kind of having a relaxed race, you know, heading into the playoffs. Let's get him in here and see what he has to say.
Yep. Fortunate for the 9 as well. 9 appeared to be fast early in the race, but had some engine troubles very early.
Yeah, the 9, he was really fast in practice. I was really shocked that he had those problems early on.
Yeah. I'm here, Colonel.
Hey, Colonel. So, man, you had a pretty good race there towards the, you know, the whole race you had a good car, and you just looked like you got a speeding penalty out there. What happened with that?
Yeah, I was going 48, and it was close, 3 miles an hour difference. Yeah, it was a speeding penalty. Took me last place.
Yeah, so was that just part of trying to get everything out of that car, maybe trying to close that gap to the leaders?
Yeah, I was trying to pit earlier than Smoke and Bradley so I could get out in front for tire wear uses, obviously, but that obviously backfired.
Yeah, I have to ask you, appeared you had a fast car, or in the race, you're making some pretty good moves. You and your teammate Bradley were like trying to catch that 19 there before the speeding penalty. How would you think you would have finished without the speeding penalty?
I think I could have got a top 3, maybe a chance for the lead. I probably would have been in the lead by the time of the sequence of pit stops, but Smoke had a fast car. I think he would have won either way. maybe second or third, not a sixth place. Definitely wasn't. I was definitely better than sixth place in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we kind of mentioned it at the top of the show, but Sir Smooth didn't show up tonight, which really kind of let you have just a really relaxed race. Were you out there just, just kind of riding around, or did you want to go out there and have as much momentum as possible going into the playoffs?
I still wanted to win. I was still racing how I normally would. I wasn't relaxed. I was in it to win it, in there for the win. I was wanting to win. I thought I had a chance.
Yeah, you had a really fast car out there today, so. But hey, you made the playoffs, bigger picture. So good luck in the playoffs, and really look forward to watching you hopefully make your way through the rounds there.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll see. We'll go ahead and get the race winner in here. We'll have a quick word with him. We'll see what he says about the race.
I believe KY will be a pretty good threat if he can just race consistently, keep some mistakes, clear the penalty out of the way. I believe he can show up when he needs to be, and turn some.
Yeah, and he kind of did a lot of the same stuff as Bradley today. He missed the trouble, and he was able to, whenever he was up there, he was able to make it work. But that speeding penalty, like we said, just really killed him out there today.
There you have Smoke Zemo, winner of the DC Solar 300. How do you feel, Mr. Smoke, getting your first Xfinity Series win?
Feels good. Just subbing for one of my friends, so just did what I had to do and just raced and had fun.
Yeah, so, really since you won the second stage and we talked to you and you said you kind of had a little bit of aggressive move there at the end to win that stage, but you were pretty much in control of the rest of the race. How did you feel pretty much leading the race? Did you have, were you kind of waiting for the 7 to get back up there and battle you, or, how did you, keep control of the race?
I was just running my line. It was Bradley and JC were coming too, so they were both pretty fast.
Earlier in the race, the top cars today were going to be JC, you, and Cameron. Of course, 23 and 42 were in there at some moments. But how do you think the race would have turned out any different if the 9 and the 7 get out of their troubles?
I think there would have been a little more competition.
Yeah.
I think that it would have progressed well. JC is really fast, so is Kevron.
All right. Well, congrats to you, Smoke. That was really fun to watch. Like I said, man, you controlled the race pretty much from the second stage, and it just kind of seemed like the 7 had a little bit of trouble in traffic. But all in all, you had a really fast car, and it was fun to watch you and Bradley battle there for a little bit. But looks like you had just a little bit more tires. So are you really looking to carry that momentum into the playoff race tomorrow for the Cup Series?
Yeah, I am. I'm seeded 6th, so I would still be in for round 1, but I still gotta rack up some playoff points for future rounds, so I'll be looking to capitalize there.
Absolutely. Well, congrats on winning the race today. You did a great job. Look forward to racing with you tomorrow, bud.
All right, thank you.
What, man?
All right, guys. My final thoughts on the race was, man, that was some good racing. There was never really a dull moment until there was about 15 to go. It seemed like everybody got spread out. But even then, man, 3 wide for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. That was just some great racing. I really expect to see that in the Cup Series tomorrow.
Yeah, it was very good racing. Stage 1, when you don't really have your setup in, everyone's kind of just trying to do what they got, and it was very good racing. Stage 2, I believe, brought better racing. It was a little more edgy, and drivers making more aggressive moves because they know what the car can do. But I believe that it would have been a much better race 9 if the 9 stays in there, because I saw his moves he was making pretty aggressive. He was kind of battling 2nd most of the race, 2nd, 3rd when he was in. So overall race very good.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal race. That was so fun to watch. That's going to wrap it up for us, guys. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us. Be sure to check in tomorrow. Be about 6:30 Central Time. We're going to be back out here at Las Vegas. It's going to be for the Cup Series, the very first playoff race of the season. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be intense. And we're really going to see who, we're going to see if we have any of those playoff guys that maybe haven't shown anything, maybe Bradley or Remix or Sports Kid, somebody who is seated a little lower, even Smoke, if they can go out there and, win the race and get off on the right foot and start a whole bunch of momentum and show those guys up top, that have all the playoff points and all the wins and stage wins and stuff, that they're here to play as well. So hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Again, thank you for hanging out with us, and we hope to see you tomorrow.
Yep, take care.